All right, in today's video, we are actually starting from the office. What I want to do today is actually create a route on Trailforks, then upload it to my Garmin Edge, and then go use it on the trail. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and create a route in South Mountain, and I'm recording my screen here as I do this. So on the Trailforks application, I'm all logged in, and what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Routes, and then go to create a route. And then you have some different options here. We're going to create a personal route plan. And then it gives you some different concepts of how the actual route planning works here on Trailforks. So we'll go ahead and get started. And it always starts out here in the general Phoenix area. So we're going to do something new here. We're going to ride some new trails that I've never ridden before in South Mountain. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow up everything here, and we're gonna start in draw mode. There's this enforce trail direction option in case you do want to make sure you're going the proper ways. And if you want to select or learn more about a particular route trail, you can go into map modes. Right now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start from the main parking lot here. So we'll start at the entrance, and I'm gonna go ahead and click it there. And if we blow this up here, you can kind of see as I move things around, and there's this kind of like, it will try to match up close to what you want to go. So in this case, we're gonna do is we're gonna go up the National Dirt Road here, just get this thing started. And I found that you can't, sometimes if you try to cross trails, it might go in a weird direction. So I always try to make a click at all the major intersections here. So see, like when I do that here, it's taking up on this other trail versus the road. So I'm gonna click down in here and get that, go up to here. All right. So instead of climbing up National, I think my plan is to go up the Javelina Canyon Trail here, the old Mormon section. And once we climb to the top, I'm gonna cut over here onto National, and we're going to continue to climb all the way up. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep selecting these trails here, and we're going to go all the way to Old Man, which I think is pretty much the top of the mountain right there. All right, so when we get there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to climb back down. So again, I'm going to just start reselecting on the same trail. I'll put a little marker here next to the waterfall section. We'll see how well I do on that. I've never been down that myself. All right, we're gonna keep going. I'll select around here. Okay, now we saw that something happened there, and we're gonna have to undo it. So what happened was it somehow looped around there. So hitting the undo button was able to bring it back. And sometimes if you get stuck somewhere, if you might need to do something, you can actually drag the blue section here. So if I hold it down and drag it around, it will let you go to those sections. And so then now I can click back again, go back over here. And now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to, instead of it, see how it's highlighting this other trail here, I'm going to just push it over into over here. And now I can go ahead and start going down National, the rest of National here. All right, we'll go up and over here. And then instead of coming back down that dirt road again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back over towards here onto Javelina Canyon. And then I'm going to take this other trail called Ridgeline. I saw some videos on it, looked interesting, so I'm going to go ahead and try that one. So we go all the way, oops, let's make sure we're doing it. And you'll notice that this is directional here, so it's always going down. So we're keeping that direction going fine. And now I need to get back to the parking lot. So to make things interesting, I'm just gonna kind of randomly pick some interesting or some trails here to kind of see how the turn-by-turn directions work on the Garmin Edge. So the idea is that once I load this into the cycle computer, I should be able to get turn-by-turn directions and be able to kind of make sure I go left or right or straight, stay on the trail. So we'll do that. Maybe we'll head over here to Beacon Hill. We'll do that. Go up here, climb down here, and then go over here. And we'll just kind of finish it up here at the main street and go back to the main entrance. All right, so that will be the ending of our trail. So you can kind of see on the right side over here, we have 13 miles. It's 1,493 feet of climbing. Now, usually the climbing in Trailforks tends to be off by a few hundred feet. So I would assume it's probably going to be around 1,700, maybe 1,800 feet of climbing, but I may be wrong. I don't know. We'll find out. So the other thing you can do here is actually load up the elevation to get an idea of what it's going to look like on the trail. So if I come down here and let me zoom out a little bit here. There we go. We can kind of see how we follow up. So here again, we're climbing up the Old Mormon Trail up to National, climb to the top to Old Man. Then it's mostly downhill all the way back down. And of course, every downhill in the desert, there's a little bit of climbing. And we go down Ridgeline, slight back, climb back up here to Beacon Hill, then all the way back down to the parking area. So it looks good. I'm going to go ahead. Now I need to save this. So I'm going to hit save. And I'm just going to call this Tour of South Mountain. And we're going to go ahead and hit save. All right, so now that it's saved, if I go ahead and reload the page here, I'm going to reload this. You see that? But now that it's all nice and reloaded, we can kind of see the whole view here. We see our elevation chart here. Everything looks good. We can hide that. All right, the last thing we're going to do is take this route that we saved on Trailforks, and then we're going to basically link it to the Garmin Edge. So let's get the Garmin Edge and get that started. All right, we're going to go ahead and load up the actual route here. So this right here, go over to my eMTB settings here. Actually, it doesn't really matter at this point, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up the IQ section here. And you'll notice there's a little Trailforks option here. So we're going to go ahead and select the Trailforks. And this is where you can find all the different things where it says my routes, nearby routes, things like that. So we're going to just go to my routes, and it's basically going to connect up all the routes. And now you'll see here, the very, very top of the list is the one we just created, a tour of South Mountain. So what we're going to go ahead and do is select that one to download, the little arrow there on the far right. Hit that. All right, Tour South Mountain. Go ahead and download. I'm going to associate it with my eMTB. And now it's all downloaded. And if I hit this ride button, it will go ahead and start it. But since we're not really at the trail right now, we'll do that later. So right now I can go ahead and turn that back. And when I want to access it in the future, all I have to do is basically go into navigation, go to courses, saved courses, and it'll be under here in alphabetical order. So I go down into here, kind of scroll down here, and then you'll notice the Tour of South Mountain. So I hit this, it will load up, and then I hit just like we were before. All right, so let's go ahead and head out to the trail. I'm out at South Mountain in the parking lot and have loaded up the course. I don't need to navigate to the beginning since it's right here in front of me, so I hit X. Since I have the climbing feature turned on, it is letting me know that I'm at the start of the climb. I'll show more about that in a moment, so let's start riding. You will hear an alert chirp from the device that lets me know that my turn is coming up. On the screen, it looks like this. I have 0.4 miles to the trail intersection. As you approach closer to the trail, another alert comes up. This one shows 200 feet from the Mormon Loop Trail. When looking at the screen, you will notice I have a space for ascent remaining. Since I'm using a saved course, it's letting me know how much more climbing I have to do. Note, the trail names may come up differently than what is in Trailforks. When using the navigation feature, Garmin uses the trail names from the database versus the names on Trailforks. Trailforks is updated more often, so sometimes you get an older name. Now for the steep part of the climb. Here is the climb feature page on the device. It shows where I'm at and how much is remaining. You can see the black and red portions are steep while yellow is moderate. Okay, let's continue the climb. I've made it to the top of the trail where it intersects with Old Man. It's letting me know I need to turn around to continue following the course. When this happens, you get a big warning message at the bottom of the screen. The views from up here are nice of the city. Time to head back down National. Note, this trail is quite difficult and there are many sections where I had to hike a bike. I didn't film those since this video is more about the Garmin turn-by-turn direction versus riding down the infamous waterfall on National. Maybe someday I'll learn the trail, but it's not one of my priorities in life. Now I'm heading down Ridgeline to the very bottom of the route. This trail is quite steep and I had to use the walk mode on my bike to get over some of the summits. The downhills are quite loose and I'm barely getting any traction. I'm always amazed that people can fly down this mess. I'll just take it slow. Now is where things get a little weird. I may have mentioned in an earlier video that I had problems with the bike shutting down. Well, here you can witness it. Even checking the wiring into the battery didn't help. With the bike not restarting, I needed to climb out of the canyon on my own power, so I decided not to complete the full course. So I continued for a bit, then took the fastest way back to the truck. You can see here that the navigation wants me to make a U-turn to get back on the course. When I reached my truck, I turned off the navigation and finished the ride. Even though the bike died, the turn-by-turn directions worked really well. I suggest doing a little bit more trail research before actually adding these things to the routes. I think I had probably too many black runs in there versus blue, and I probably would have had a lot more fun just doing something a little bit easier. The e-bike is in the shop right now, so I'll let you know about the repairs. And until then, go out and enjoy the ride.